Hey there, folks. This is Scott. We're going to take a look at section 2.2 today. This is equivalent fractions and decimals. It's going to work on changing fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions, and all pieces in between there too, with all those things too. First thing it talks about is equivalent fractions and how you can either make the numbers in a fraction larger or smaller, depending on what the case may be. Usually we're looking to reduce fractions. So if you've got a fraction such as something like 3/6. Yeah, my pen's not working. If you got a fraction like 3/6, we can reduce that down because there's a number that goes into 3 and a number that goes into 6, and that number is 3. So you divide the top by 3 and you divide the bottom by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that reduces down to 1/2. Now, the reason you can do that is because really we're dividing it really in essence by 1, because 3 over 3 would reduce down to 1 itself. So that's why mathematically some of these things work. And you can do that with anything that you're working with here too, with all that. I mean, if you want to look at a fraction such as, 10/18. Well, 2 goes into both those. So really divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2. And you get not 2/9, oops, but 5/9. You're dividing by 2 and divided by 2. Now, a couple things to keep in mind, a couple of math terms that we need to keep using here too with all those things. First of all, the 5 here is in the numerator, and the 9 is in the denominator. Okay, numerator is the top one, the bottom one is the denominator, because as we work with some of those things, that's what they're going to be referred to as with all that too. So, but the first thing is just reducing fractions down to lowest terms. Anytime we have an answer, excuse me, we want to reduce it down to lowest terms, whatever that may be. We don't want to leave an answer like 5/10 or 6/8. We want to reduce those down to 1/2 and to 3/4 as we go forward with some of those things too. Same thing is true as you don't want to leave a larger number in the numerator than the denominator. For example, if we have something like 14/5, okay? Well, what that really is, in essence, is 5 will go into 14 twice, with 4 left over. So that's actually equal to 2 4/5. Okay? And so this is a number like this. It's called an improper fraction. That's an improper fraction because the numerator, the top number, is larger than the denominator. So that's called an improper fraction. Now, something like this is 2 4/5. That's called a mixed number because the 2 is a whole number and the 4/5 is a fraction. So that's called a mixed number. So just want to point some of those things out to you too as you go along. So if you had something like 84/9, okay, something like that. 9 goes into 84 9 times with a remainder of 3. So 9 3/9, but also would be 9 1/3 then. 9 1/3, because we can reduce that 3/9 down to 1/3 that way. So you might also have a number like a mixed number, and you want to change that into a fraction. That's might be what the directions say for one of your assignments in this unit. So let's say you had something like 3 3/8. Okay, you want to change that to an improper fraction, so it looks something like that. You can take 8 times 3, which is 24, plus 3, which is 27/8. 27/8. That's how you would change an improper fraction into a traditional fraction that way with all those things. So that's another thing to keep in mind also with that. Sometimes it's going to ask for your number your answer as a mixed number. Sometimes it'll want it as an improper fraction. So you have to make sure that you're ready either way with some of those things too. Another thing too is it talks about changing decimals to fractions and fractions to decimals that way also with that. A couple things that you can do, excuse me, a couple things that you can do there. For example, if you had a number, I'm going to get a new page here, one moment please. Page. If you had a fraction, and let's just use a common one called 0.5, okay, what you would do is you would take 5 and you put over 10, because it is one space after the decimal, so it's in the 10th spot. Reduce that down and you get an answer of 1/2. That works the same pretty much on all type fractions that way. You know, if you want to change it to, that works for all decimals if you want to change it into a fraction. What you do is, if you had a number like this, 0.025, you take the 25 and you put it over 1 and however many decimals there are after the 0. So in this case, it would be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 25 over 1,000. Now, as you take a look at it, you go, oh, I bet that reduces down. So sure enough, we'll divide that by 5. And so you get 5 over 200. And you go, we'll reduce down even further. So we divide by 5 again. And so you get an answer of 1/40 for your answer with that. So just can keep some of those things in mind as you go through things here too. The other thing is you might be asked to convert a fraction into a decimal. Basically, that fraction is just a division problem. So if you had something like 1/4, that's the same really as 1 divided by 4. So that's 0.25. If you took 1 and divided by 4, it would be 0.25. And that's really all that is with the fraction pieces there. You know, sometimes it's going to be a little goofier. You know, you can still use your calculator for some of these, and you might get a number that repeats, and then you just have to make note of that too. For example, let's say you had 1/9. You divide that out, and you get 0.11111111111 going on forever. Really, that's just the same as 0.1 repeating that way. So another way to look at some of those things too. So I think that is about everything I can think of in this unit. Once again, we're on unit 2.2. You can go ahead and do some sample exercises there, beginning on page 80, about 2 through 144 even. I take that back. You can do 1 through 144 because we aren't going to grade this, so you can kind of do whatever you want. Make sure that you understand what is being asked and all those problems, and we can kind of go forward that way. Yeah, I think this will be a neat unit. I think it'll be a good one for you. And if you have any questions, please make sure to ask. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.